It's Cinemassacre's Monster Madness. Screams not on screen. It all started with carving faces into turnips and all those old Irish traditions. But over time, as Halloween became more commercialized, we saw decorations evolve as a business and an art. We're going to take a look at some modern decorations, but first I want to bring you back to the most classic decorations that I remember as a kid. The first is those beastal die cuts. I didn't even know what these were called until sometime in the past, 10 years or so. I bought some and put them up, and Mike was here and said, "Oh, you got beastal die cuts." And I'm like, what the hell is that? Apparently, a die is a metal tool that cuts out the characters on paper, while beastal is the name of the company that was founded in the year 1900. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Is it bastal, bestal? But I'm saying beastal, because that way it sounds like beast, man. Even though I associate these as an 80s thing, they've been around longer than me, and they still print them to this day with the same vintage look. By today's standards, there is nothing scary about two-dimensional paper cutouts, but back then, that's all you needed. They are so nostalgic, you gotta love them. Another simple tradition for me has always been the strings of pumpkin lights. It seems these have also been around as long as I've been alive. It's a great way to light a room with that orange glow. Hang them on the windows or wherever. You used to be able to connect them all together in a chain. I guess it might be an electrical hazard or something. So anytime I buy new ones, they all connect from the same point, so your strand of pumpkins isn't going very far. It sucks. Some of my most classic decorations were the skull candelabra and the laughing skeleton jangling bones. During my teen years, most of my decorations I'd collected would all go into the basement or garage for my annual haunted house exhibit, which lasted from 93 till 98. But I already talked about that in my haunted house episode. In my costume episode, I showed you where I keep my collection, but there's also decorations and props in there. I want to show my first full-size skeleton. I bought this about 20 years ago from some online store, I can't remember where, and it's way too heavy. So heavy that it's hard to work with. And that's because it's not really meant to be a decoration. It's more for classrooms and doctor's offices. I think it's medically accurate from a real mold. Don't worry, it's not an actual skeleton, though I sometimes wonder. Years later, I walk into a Halloween shop and there's a skeleton that's much less expensive, much lighter, and much easier to work with. Probably less accurate, but of course that's not the point. Since then, I've bought many of these things to the point where I wonder, do I have an addiction to buying skeletons? I have tons of bins full of decorations because you gotta keep them somewhere. I don't even remember what's inside most of these. Way up there, I have a bunch of stuff. And oh yeah, there's my old tombstones. These are homemade tombstones that I carved out in 2005 for a zombie film, The Deader the Better, which was first shown in early 2006. They were all carved out of styrofoam, which was extremely messy, and then painted. But the tricky thing was that certain paints eat away at styrofoam. It actually dissolves it. But when used in small amounts, it gives it some rocky texture, and it looks really cool. Lately, my obsession has been those cardboard standees, the ones where the monsters are advertising beer. I don't know why, but I find that really funny. Just the idea of partying with the monsters. I definitely do not have the space for these, but I had to get them. The Crypt Keeper and the Old Milwaukee Mummy, or the Old Mill Mummy. Other ones I just got are the Miller Thriller and the Coors Light Beer Wolf. I'm also on the lookout for Dracula. You can count on a Miller. Back in the day, the only place I knew to get Halloween decorations was at the grocery store, novelty stores like Spencer's Gifts, and from the catalog Oriental Trading. I used to get those catalogs in the mail every year. I'd say over the past couple decades, Halloween decorations have really stepped it up. Now, Spirit Halloween is everywhere. So let's go take a look and see what we can find. I talked about Spirit Halloween a few years back when I did a review of the Spirit Halloween movie. Now, as you know, I really appreciate their animatronics. And here I am back again to check out what new animatronics they have. And there are a lot that I haven't seen. Here's a scary clown with an ape that comes out of a box. And who's there? Who's there? Whoa! One of the coolest displays they had was this haunted subway train. Kinda new, I guess. Then they have a scary giant rat on the train. It's pretty neat. Then you got the scarecrow guy. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Whoa! Okay, I did not expect him to get that tall. Now, one thing that has to be said about these animatronics, they can be pretty expensive, so I don't know how much you would have in your budget to decorate your whole yard with them. It's not really the kind of thing where you'd buy many of, like maybe one per year. I mean, with me, honestly, I don't buy these things much. They're just too big, they're hard to put away. You gotta have some extra space to store them, or if you want to try to put them back in the box, they're a little bit of a pain to disassemble sometimes. This one with the possessed girl is pretty creepy. Whoa, here it comes, here it comes. Yeah, you know what? That actually is pretty scary. If that was in somebody's yard at night, that would have some kids running, I bet. The scary nun is also kind of cool. I'm noticing a lot of Tim Burton representation here. So you got Corpse Bride and Beetlejuice. Then you have other things like Cerberus and Twisted Grandma. But moving away from the animatronics, they have the classic severed limbs. That's always common. I don't think the quality of the limbs has ever improved. It's always been kind of the same all the years I've been collecting props. Gravestones, and do not need any more skeletons. Stay away from the skeletons. Oh, I really like the movie props, the ones where they have like the sign for Camp Crystal Lake, Halloween 78, the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. So that's always neat to have these sort of like relics from movies. Oh, and Chucky. Chucky in the actual packaging from the movie. That's a nice touch. Now moving over to Home Depot, let's check out what they got. So once again, they have a lot of impressive animatronics. And a lot of new ones too that I haven't seen at any of the Spirit Halloweens. Definitely like the dragon. That's cool. And they even have a leprechaun. Yeah, so I guess if you want to celebrate St. Paddy's Day too, go for the leprechaun. There's always those giant skeletons. I've seen them in yards sometimes, and I don't really get the point of it. It's just a gigantic skeleton. Why would you want something that cumbersome? Oh, this one though, I really like the eyes. I mean, that's kind of cool how it has like a digital display. And this guy here does a lot of talking. He has a whole bit that he does with these two guys that are carrying him on their shoulders. At Lowe's, they even have Christmas animatronics out already. And of course, these are all from the stop-motion Rankin Bass animated Rudolph short. I really like the Yeti, and it seems that he is almost to scale, perhaps. They got spiders, they got all kinds of things. I mean, there definitely seems to be a big market here for animatronics. Oh no, don't buy any skeletons. No, look away, just keep on moving, keep on moving. Now there's something. Got a cool looking werewolf here. And that dude in the back, I mean, look at him. That's got to be one of the scariest. And he is tall, man. Like, he's one of the tallest in the store. There's the corpse bride and groom and the ghosts from Haunted Mansion. Well, how about that? Over at Target, it's a much different story. They have the cheaper kind of kid-friendly decorations, which I like. I like the charm of the nostalgic childhood Halloween. Lots of colors going on too. Lots of vibrant neon greens and pinks. I really like it. It kind of reminds me of the Beastle die cuts a little bit. Yeah, the witches and black cats, jack-o'-lanterns, that kind of thing. Always cool. Well, I guess that about does it. One thing I can say is that animatronics are something I never would have imagined as a kid. I would have thought these type of things were only in movies and professional theme parks. But now the fact that you can just buy an animatronic character is pretty cool when you think about it. So there's a huge variety of decorations out there, but when it comes down to it, I know what my favorite is. The most classic Halloween decoration of all time is the jack-o'-lantern. It is the pure icon of Halloween. It goes all the way back to the Irish legend of Jack, who was so evil that hell wouldn't have him. So he was condemned to walk the earth with a burning ember from hell inside of a carved turnip. and that's evolved into the pumpkin carving tradition we have today. Pumpkin carving is a whole art in itself. Over the past years, I've attempted many pumpkin carvings, but I am no expert. I usually try to print something out and then try to carve through the paper, enough just to get some cut lines and basic point of reference. Some of my favorites I've done are Papa from Ghost, the Wolfman, Alice Cooper, and Jet Jaguar. But if you look around, there's lots of super talented pumpkin artists out there. I always love seeing those, especially if you go to a pumpkin carving event where they have them all displayed. The only thing that sucks about pumpkins is when you carve it, it starts to rot and only lasts a few days. Unless you're Mike and you keep it out on your deck until it becomes a green puddle. But if you want a pumpkin that never goes bad, you can buy one of those fake jack-o'-lanterns that have a bulb inside them. And now the bulb it comes with, it doesn't resemble the light from a candle in any way. And if you replace it with one of those flame flicker bulbs, it's just not bright enough. So here's what you do. You buy one of those fake pumpkins, the ones that are hollow and made out of foam. So you cut out your own custom jack-o'-lantern and then make a hole in the back. You get one of those big flame flicker bulbs. Then you get something to plug it into. I'd go with those clamp lamps. Just remove the clamp and that dish or whatever. Shove it in the back of the pumpkin, and boom, a jack-o'-lantern that doesn't rot. I use these in many of the nerd episodes. It's quick, I don't have to be on the same shooting schedule as the lifespan of a pumpkin, and it's reusable for years. Of course, nothing beats carving a real pumpkin, and nothing beats the symbol of the jack-o'-lantern as the all-time classic Halloween decoration. But leave a comment and let us know, what are your favorite Halloween decorations?